Hello, hello, hello. Hope you're doing well this evening. My name is Fiona. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the host of What Am I Rolling, which is a twice monthly tabletop RPG one-shot podcast. I should always really start with that. I always forget to do it till the end. If you're coming early for the stream, check it out. But I also run these little chilled streams of stuff. Sorry, music is always a little bit loud on my end, and I can never tell, so let me know in the chat if the music is okay. But yes, I do these things called tabletop. I do tabletop. I do Too Long Didn't Read tabletop RPG streams where I just take an RPG that I found quite interesting and then read it through. And I used to do them quite a lot a couple of months ago, and then life got in the way, and I went on a holiday, I came back, and then I was doing lots of stuff, and now I'm slowly easing back in with like one or two, just testing the water and stuff, and just seeing how we go from there. But I hope you're doing well this evening. I hope all is good with you. I've been very tired this week. We just came back from Dragon Meet, which is a one-day convention in London, in Hammersmith, which is like a little district in London, and it's all about tabletop RPGs, and I was helping organising some of the stuff, and it went really, really well. And I really enjoyed it, and if you were there, let me know how you found it, because I'll be taking feedback on trying to make it better for next year. But as a result, I am completely wiped out. And so I thought, after a couple of days of getting back into work and being really appreciated at work, I thought, well, what would be better than going to look at some tabletop RPGs? And I thought, why don't I do like a big roll on my random list generator for seeing what's out there on my Notion. So basically, sometimes I pick, I'm feeling this tonight, or I'm feeling that, or I just roll randomly, and I rolled on my big list of tabletop RPGs that I want to read from my library. I rolled this one. Now, I'm going to start off right at the beginning. Content warnings, complete content warnings for this, but not for the reasons you think. It is not based on the song. I think it's unfortunate that this tabletop RPG shares its name with the song, but Blurred Lines, the title of it, but it's not that at all. But it's going to be a general content warning because of the genre that it's a part of. So today we are looking at Blurred Lines, Giallo detective solo RPG by Lantern's Fawn, and it is a solo RPG, a detective solo RPG, which you use through cards, and it is inspired by Giallo. I believe that's how you're pronouncing it, is the Italian for yellow, horror cinema. So that sort of murder mystery, slasher, lots of sort of psychological elements in as well. I'll admit I don't know that particular genre of cinema that well, but I'd be interested to see it, because I think it's something I've always seen. It's always very stylistic, isn't it? All very arty, very interesting as a result. And I was curious because I got recommended this a long time ago, and I picked it up, and I picked up the bits to do it because I really wanted to try and do it. But unfortunately, as we'll go into it a little bit, I couldn't find a decent map of London, which I know sounds crazy, but let me go straight into this. Let me know in chat what you think as we go along, and we will go from there. Again, what we're going to do, we're going to spend the next hour, maybe hour and a half, depending on how I'm feeling, because you can tell I'm a little bit low energy today. But we'll go in, see how we find it. It's about 40 pages for a quick look at the PDF, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to turn over to the... I am so good at this, you guys. So, Lantern's Fawn doesn't necessarily have its own website, as far as I'm aware. I'm sure there's maybe an itch from the author, who we'll get into in a second, but you can get it on Drive for RPG, and I've put a link in the chat. All I see that it comes up on Twitch according to Nightbook, but not YouTube, which is really annoying, but I'm sure I can look at that after the stream. But yeah, you can get it on Drive for RPG, you can get it via PDF, you got a soft cover, or you can get them both together, and it's on offer just now. I appreciate I'm not logged in, but it's about $9 if you just want the PDF just now, which is pretty good. And yeah, as you can see, I'm just going to... Oh, yeah, we do see it. Excellent. So this is the stylized, sort of incredibly eye-catching front cover of Bloodlines Solo RPG, written by Guilherme... that's how you pronounce it? Guilherme Gontijo. And they're the author for this, so I'm very excited to look in and see what they've done. Also notice, you can't see it on the thing, but it is an Electrum bestseller, so incredibly popular, this one. So from the description it says, Blurred Lines is a solo RPG inspired by Giallo Giallo horror cinema and Michelangelo Antonioni's blow up. Also, that must be a film or a book, perhaps. I have not read, unfortunately. Play. Excuse me, I just spat at the camera. Oh, sorry. Play as a crime photographer and hunt down a serial killer. In the game, you'll visit places and take pictures revealing its content turn after turn, investigating the suspicious sites you find. It uses a D10, a deck of cards, a map of a real city of your choice, and lots of post-it notes. Become a detective and hunt down this monster. Just beware you don't become the prey. Already, how really cool is this? Again, I always think solo RPGs, we've gone from the whole sort of like writing in journals and sort of bullet points and all that sort of thing. When we're doing that, that's almost like a reflective one. Here, where it's almost like very active. Like, in fact, you have to get like a map, D10. You got your deck of cards, which again, so it means this is really, really. You can play it over and over again and get a different journey each time, and lots of post-it notes as well. So it just feels very sort of like evocative of those detective sort of films and noirs. You put up the map and you put pins and stuff, etc. So I just thought that was really cool, and that's what made me excited to play it. And like I said, I just couldn't find a big enough map of London. I bought like a teeny tiny map, because I feel like for this you'd want to spread it out on a wall or on a kitchen table as you're playing it. So there you go. And there's some examples here of the. You can't see it on there. Some examples of the inside covers. Again, looking cracking. Some really cool like. Graphic design, sort of like ease. You can see how to get from one bit to the other, like quite straightforward. Again, I appreciate. I'm going to look through this in real detail in a second. But yeah, it just stands out, right? Look at that artwork there, absolutely incredible. The other thing though I wanted to check was Lantern's Fawn. So like I said, they don't really have another website that I'm aware of. And I'm just going to move my screen over a little bit so you can see it. But they also did Into the Bronze, which I hear is very, very popular. It's basically like an OSR Bronze Age swords and sorcery. If you're into that sort of thing, that's absolutely fine. Oh, it's got some official cards as well. That's very exciting. And then something called Fountains of the Beast. Let's have a look what that is. This project has not been reviewed or rated. That's fine. Looks like it's sort of like a leaflet type thing there as well. Oh, it seems just trying to read it through. See, old school revival. Okay, so the previous systems are all using old school revival systems, whereas this particular Bloodlines is its own system, which is very cool. Oh, yeah, you know what? You should have looked it up there. Oh, you can't even see it on the thing. Good job, Fiona. You could. Oh, I don't want to rate it. I don't want to rate the thing. Bring it back. But yeah, you can see on the side. Actually, also the new version of Drive-Thru RPG is so much better on the eye. I'm so grateful for dark mode. But yeah, all these ones obviously are tagged with like what kind of system you have. So all the other products that Lantern's Fawn has done are sort of old school revival, so OSR. Which I'll be honest, I don't actually know too much about. Obviously, I've heard of OSR. I think I might have played in one or two games. I know. I was on a panel at the weekend. And about what's hot in tabletop RPGs, and I don't know all these names for like schools of thought. And there was a guy, another panelist, who was whittling off all these different words, and there was a design theory at school called, I think it was Glob, the Glob School. I'm gonna have to look that up afterwards. And now I feel like an idiot for saying it out loud, but it was something ridiculous like that. And I'm just like going like, are they trying to with me? Are they trying to? Because I don't know all these things. Like obviously I've heard of old school revival and stuff, but I don't, in my head, don't know what that means. And it's really interesting because I guess like, because obviously we have ways to categorize gaming systems, right? So like Powered by the Apocalypse is like PBTA, that sort of thing. Carl from Brindlewood Bay is for like Jason Cordova's using that system as well. I'm sure there's like 2D20 is the Modifius one as well. So for me, those are like, those are the game systems that we come under. Like the D20 system, I think, mostly correlates with what we use in D&D and stuff, unless they've called it something else by now. Who knows when this video goes out? Before we go into it, I did see that Matt Colville's put out another video about what the D&D, the next video is about D&D, the next edition, an hour-long video. And I think it's just like an entry point for people to be like, oh, so why are we getting another edition and stuff like that? And I'm just like going, Matt Colville, you've hit a good market. It's easy to do, but God, it's so frustrating that he can do that. His new RPG system is coming out tomorrow as well for pre-order. We'll see what it's like, because I heard that he did a stream about like because his thing has always been D&D and D&D for the ages and stuff, which makes him obviously a proper expert. And then he then, when all this stuff happened in January, he goes onto the screen going, okay, we're going to make our own RPG. And he's like, oh, there's so many different RPG systems out there. And what if we do this? And what if we do that? And lots of people are going, yeah, Matt, we're way ahead of you trying out other RPG systems. I think basically what I'm saying is that play more games. Don't stick to one system, because that will ruin everything. All right, with all that out of the way, with all me talking nonsense for a little bit, is it gonna... Who knows where it's gone? Oh, where are you? That's not what I wanted. I bet I've put it down here. There we go. I was like, I can do this, honest. So, yep, this is Bloodlines. It's 40 pages long. We'll see how much of it we'll get through. I think a reasonable time, because again, it looks like it's really laid out quite beautifully and quite evocatively as well. So obviously this is the main title page. We've already seen that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and we'll just get going. Oh, that's very bright. Sorry. It feels like the beginning of a film, doesn't it? Like the title card that comes up in the cinema. It's pretty cool. Oh, and then we've got the... Ooh, that's interesting. So we've got the credits here, obviously about, you know, who did all the graphic design work. Oh, it's by the person who wrote it as well. That's pretty cool. One person playtested it. Very cool. Oh, sorry, jumping ahead a little bit. Look at this. So this is something I find quite interesting, is that lots of people are going, oh, but I need artwork for my game. I might not have enough money to pay artists to do a really good job, so I just want to use stuff like Midjourney and AI creative things like that. And I say, Unsplash, 100% is your friend here. Wikipedia Commons, obviously. Libraries like have digital assets now that you can use as long as you credit where they're from. And this person has just used like collage art made with the images. And I know that Johan Noor also does that with his artwork. So if you've seen like Morkborg or Bastionland, and probably Mythic Bastionland as well, now that I think about it, all that artwork is all Creative Commons or public domain images that he's been able to download from various digital libraries. So yeah, I would 100% go check that out if you're worried about stuff. But look, there is a violence disclaimer there, which is interesting because obviously it's yet to tell us what this game is about, but it's quite cool to see this already literally 3 pages in. So you'll find no gore or sexual violence, in brackets, and or abuse in these pages, but certainly there are some disturbing themes since the game is about chasing a serial killer. You'll often be asked to imagine and describe crime scenes and violent acts against innocent victims. Please take your time before doing this. Breathe deeply and know your personal limits. No game is more important than your emotional health. Nice and succinct, really comes at home. And this is the other thing as well, what I've noticed, because I've been teaching a lot of improv around documentaries, and so I've had to do a lot of research and like watching documentaries. There are so many documentaries on serial killers. It's unbelievable. I hate true crime podcasts now. I used to be really into them. I used to really love them, and then I realised every other white woman is also into them as well. And it's so depressing because it's usually about women being killed, or ethnic minorities, or basically anyone that's not a straight white man being killed off. And you're like, I don't need to hear all this horrible stuff. It's pretty grim. So, but it's quite cool that we can play a game that then sort of you can have elements of it, but maybe we can twist it so that we don't have to. We can portray different kinds of stories, which is very cool. Moving on. Ooh, look at this. There's a. Hang on, move out a little bit. Yes, I will say as well, this is the document that I have is text accessible as well. Fantastic, thank you. Ooh, thank you for that. So, going around in a sort of clockwise order, we've got the table of contents. So we've got the preface or preface, depending on where you come on, how tired you are. What this game is about: creating your character, playing the game, challenge cards, location cards, plot twist cards, appendix A and B. So it's really quite a small, compact, very straightforward in terms of like knowing where we are in our structure as well, and like where you need to get to. So I very much appreciate that. So let's get into it. And what a great image to go around as well. And a character sheet right at the back. Saw that bottom. The preface, the other king in yellow. Alright, it might be incredibly bright, guys, so apologies if your eyes are also like, oh no, why? Presumably, again, if this was like a softback book, it would be a little bit easier on the eyes because I don't know if printers can print anything that yellow. Without my realising it, I grew up with Italian films playing in the background. My father named my mother and aunts after the Italian actresses Monica Vitti, Claudia Cardinale, and Norma Bengal, who had later discovered to be Brazilian, actually. My father's admiration for Clint Eastwood westerns led me to spaghetti. Horror movies, however, were not commonplace in my home until I reached adulthood. For better or for worse, the absence of horror left me emotionally fertile for the impact that Giallo cinema would have on me. The term Giallo, which literally means yellow, comes from the Italian publisher Arnaldo Mondadario Editorio, who, when translating pulp detective novels for the Italian public, always published them with yellow covers. Ah, very cool. The famous book series gave rise to the Giallo horror cinema, but what exactly marks this cinema anyway? Much has been written and said about Giallo cinema. Most authors will say that elements such as leather gloves, an emphasis on style, or beautiful nude victims are the signature of this subgenre. Classic. While there are elements present in many of its films, I see such aspects more as effects than causes in Giallo cinema. In the documentary An Eye for Horror, Leon Ferguson 2021, Dario Argento comments that the conceptual importance of nudity in his films. In a brief philosophical digression, he focuses on the conceptual contrast between life and death in Giallo cinema, in how the visual magnetism of erotic nudity conceptually balances his films with the murders and cruelty of his methods, often also exposed in a naked way. This makes me think of, what's the game that I played recently? There's a type of video game. It's all about like first-person perspective and stuff, and it comes from the same company that does Her Story. I always go back to this story where you are searching through archival footage in a police station of someone being interviewed about a murder, and you have to use the database by going through and like typing keywords, and that will appear on the transcript. And slowly but surely, you can piece together the story of this person talking about a murder that happened, which is really cool. And then they did recently a really big video game which I played this year, which involved like the story of a missing actress who disappeared, but she only ever starred in these 3 films. And you had to do the same thing. You had to search in the database to find certain clips or names of clips, or you had to click on like an element in the game to reveal. Like literally, you're going back and forth like frame by frame, nudging it to see something, and click onto the next bit and to get like a sense of what was happening in these films. And some of it was then like behind the scenes shots, etc., and describing what was happening. And what was really cool about that is that sometimes you'd just by nudging something or just turning something too much, you would then end up in another clip. And I don't want to spoil it because it's really good. Of course, I can't remember what it's called, which is even worse. But it was such a good video game, and this is what it reminds me of, this idea of like, it was visually compelling, and there was definitely lots of nudity and gore and stuff like that, but it was so beautifully put together that it really was quite profound. I really enjoyed that video game. Of course, I can't remember what it's called. You know what, maybe I should look it up now. Because that would be really bad if I don't. Her Story video game. It's going to absolutely kill me. So Her Story... Oh, it's 80% off on Steam. I'm sure everyone's very glad to hear that. So yeah, Her Story is written by Sam Barlow. That's right, Sam Barlow. There he is. Immortality. There you go. That's the name of it. Immortality is the video game. Incredible video game. Came out this year. Would highly recommend. Anyway, enough of that. Let's move on. This intention to audio-visually explore the psyche of characters and spectators during the screening of horror films is, in my humble opinion, the hallmark of Giallo cinema. By starting from this assumption, we achieve clarity in the creative direction of the films. The shift to the killer's first-person perspective, the soundtrack composed by Italian progressive rock bands, the stunning beauty of the victims, the super creative use of colourful lighting in interaction with the scenography, the daring angles of the cameras, and the doubt of the spectators until the last minute the doubt of the spectators until the last minute about the killer's identity. Alongside science fiction J.G. Ballard's alongside science fiction, J.G. Ballard defended his famous 1962 manifesto Which Way to Inner Space, new paths for the genre by pointing not to the exploration of outer space but to the mysteries of the inner space of the human soul. In the similar way, the Italian directors who sculpted Giallo genre sought not only to expose the exterior death of the body but also the interior death of the mind and soul. Unlike other types of horror, death was not just a destination, but also a journey. Excellent. Michelangelo Antonioni, I think, began his career as a director almost 20 years before the emergence of Giallo. He was a son of neo-realist cinema who was born in fascism, Italy, and his concrete look at silence crowned him as one of the great storytellers of his generation. I do think the use of silence in films and use in like scenes in general is so good, and I think sometimes people worry about like using silence as it's a weakness because you don't say anything, but actually I think it's a move of strength personally. Real people, real problems, real solutions. In 1966, amidst the effervescence of names like Marlon Bava and Lucio Fulci, and the already born Giallo cinema, Antonioni launched a blow-up. The dizzying story of a fashion photographer who accidentally photographs a murderer in the background of one of his photos. Immersed in the same zeitgeist, Blow Up becomes a proto-Giallo, uniting the theme of mysterious murder investigations with the existential view of a director who filmed The Silences. Avowedly an admirer of Einstein's Soviet cinema, Antonioni saw the films not only as a platform to explore social issues, but a canvas for angles, shape, and textures to be themselves part of the message. A philosopher of the image who gave us the honor of a Giallo film. In most films, the genre explores narratives free of incursions into the supernatural. Natural death is nightmarish enough in the skilled hands of maestros. Despite this, Suspiria, 1977. I think that was remade recently. It's considered by many, and by this one who writes to you, as a supernatural exponent within the genre. Yeah, I think there was one with Gwendolyn Christie was in it, I think. In this game, you'll be taken into a terrible story of natural horror. Dive deep into this tub of blood and red light beneath the dissonance of nails that scratch the tile in desperate fear. If you want to explore supernatural elements, you'll find an appendix with some basics at the end of the book. Oh, that's really cool. So if you really want to have supernatural elements in it, even though it's not really part of the genre, you can still do that as well. That's really cool. Finally, you do not need to have seen Giallo movies to enjoy this game, or probably pronounce it, by the way. I appreciate I'm butchering everything, but I'm just going to give it a go as far as I can. Reading the following pages is enough for a full Giallo horror experience. However, I advise you to try an Italian movie horror night and mystery. At the end of this brief sign, you will find movie recommendations, video essays on YouTube, a playlist to listen while you play, and readings you can do if you want to know more about this fascinating world of Italian horror. How really cool is that? I really like it. A nice, quick, simple essay, and I'm a massive fan of like having those cultural touchstones or cornerstones where you're like, if you like this, try out this. If you want to find out more about that, so that's really cool. I will definitely check that out. Because I really like this concept. But as I said, I've not really seen any of this, and I know I'm going to have butchered all those folks' names, which is going to be awful when I make this my new personality in the next couple of weeks. But let's go. Ooh, what an image. Let me zoom out a little bit. Oh, it looks just like a poster. How cool is that? I love that. Really cool. Panoramic Technicolor. Very cool. So, what is this game about? This is a solo RPG where you play as a crime photographer trying to catch a serial killer before they catch you. In this book, you'll find every rule and instructions you need to play the game. You can play it fully in a single game session or play it along with several different game sessions. That's really good. This game is heavily inspired by Blow Up, the Italian crime novels, and owes thanks to the following game designers and their games. Oh, this is really good. Oh, Scott Malthouse's English Eerie. That's on my list as well. I was very interested in looking at that one. Aaron King's Ship of Theseus, sorry. I don't know why my brain is absolutely broke then. Ship of Theseus. Sean Patrick's Long Haul 1983, which we've played on What Am I Rolling as well. Yeah, that's a cracking game. Highly recommend that. And Todd Sanders' Shadows on Lassada. Yeah, Shadows of Lassada. Okay. Shadows upon Lassada. Oh, I'll make a note of that. I've not heard of that one. So Ship of Theseus and Shadows. Alright. Cool. Oh, so look at this. Look at these. How cool is this? Love it. So what do you need to start playing? So you need a standard deck of 52 cards for the events of the turn, which I have here, just in case we can give out some random ones. 10-sided dice for making tests, which I don't have to hand, unfortunately, but I can go grab one in a second. A city map of your choice, post-it notes for photos, and then 15 tokens. And more importantly, perhaps, what you don't need to play Bloodlines. You don't need a camera or even photography knowledge. You also won't need to get out of your house unless you want to play outside. All the adventure of Blurred Lines happens inside your imagination. You must be asking how you'll take pictures of a camera. Keep reading and you'll understand. But I do like the idea that you could play a proper game of this, like actually going to those locations. If you got a map of your hometown or your home city, and I guess you probably determine where you find these photos, right? That you could take pictures and put them on this map as well. Like, again, you could play the LARP version of it. That'd be really, really cool. Really like that. But first of all, we're going to start by making a character. It looks quite simple and straightforward. Your character has 3 stats that will be tested during the game. You must choose and distribute the values of -1, 0, and +1 amongst them however you want. So our stats are Trigger, Gut, and Presence. I will say, this font, it's going to take ages to load now. This font is just a little bit much, isn't it? Like, I know it's supposed to, like, it is a stylistic choice, but it's a little bit tight there. I think it's a little bit blurry for myself, but maybe it's just my eyes. But Trigger, how quick can you take a shot? Gut, how far would you go to have the perfect shot? And Presence, can you be invisible? Kid. Look at that image there. I love that sort of made up, what's the word for it? Collage, yeah. So cool. All right, the case until, I'm guessing that's now, and not no. Case until now. The killer has already made 4 victims. Their modus operandi is suffocating the victim with a fishing line and then extracting their left eye, leaving them for dead and one eye at the crime scene. Ooh. The killer doesn't seem to obey a logic outside the eye detail. Women and men of all ages were their victims. And probably, it goes without saying, any person identifies on whatever gender. In this game, you will build the solution for the case. That means you won't find answers in the next page's only questions. Your responsibility is to use your investigator's intuition and imagination to describe what you see in the photos you take, and how this becomes clues to the major case. I humbly advise you to track all the information and theories that you get in your character sheet. Well, let's have a quick look at the character sheet, because that's right at the end. Look, spoilers. Ooh. They're real spoilers. Okay. Oh god, it's on its side. Okay, fine. It's gonna absolutely F up now, isn't it? Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is our character sheet. Oh, I quite like it. I see. So you got the case notes. I see. So the majority of this thing is going to be case notes. There's a little place for you to put your draw an image of you, or maybe put a picture of yourself. That would be quite cool. If you're actually taking pictures, maybe you have like a. Again, this is just me thinking like outside the box. Like, how would I do this? Maybe getting one of those Polaroid cameras. Sorry, I'm just making this with my fingers. This motion with my fingers. That's not helpful. Taking a picture of a Polaroid and putting it there, perhaps. I know there's little printers you can do which use the heat to make the image that you can put there as well. That'd be really cool. And then on the right there you've got Trigger, Gut, and Presence, and then you've got some boxes below where it says Killer, Clues, and I think that says Favours, although who knows, the text is a little bit rubbish on that. but the majority of it is making case notes, which is very interesting. I don't know if I put my notes on the thing. I guess if you have it to hand, it's something to keep with you. You could put it next to the map, because I think the map's gonna be the biggest thing in all of this as well. But there you go. Yeah, I kind of wish the text was a little bit different, just to make it a little bit easier to read. But I know style of a substance, right? What's on the next page? I just wanted to see. Blank page. Fine. Go back up here. Oh, don't look. Oh God, why? There we go. Oh, look at that. Seamless. Absolutely seamless. Setting the scenario. So you shuffle a card deck, a standard one without jokers. Choose a map. It can be any city you want, even your own. Have it printed in front of you. Roll a d10 and add 2 to the result. The final number will be the amount of visible crime scenes on the map. Randomly choose and mark the places on the map. Over a crime scene, place a post-it and write over it. Name a public place from your character's childhood memories and write F, M, and B below it. They represent foreground, midground, and background of your photos. That's very cool, and there's an example there. Very cool. In front of F, so foreground, write what you see in the first sight of this first photo. Before writing, though, answer the following questions until you're ready to write it down. What time of day was the picture taken, and how is this affected in the light? What is in the picture that caught your attention and made you slightly concerned? What familiar faces do you see in the picture? If your suspicions are correct, how can this picture be connected to the killer? This description is a common sight. More about that later. Turn up the first card of the deck and follow its commands. Very cool. I guess my only thing would be this bit here where it says randomly choose and mark the map in places. So obviously we'll get the number of places we can go to, but I wish there was a way that we could randomly, like maybe it's like we throw you drop, I don't know, those tokens it was talking about. Maybe you drop the tokens over the map and you see where they land, and that's where it is. I feel like I don't know, just making everything as random as possible. I'm getting into this idea recently of like the more random prompts you get, like the more limits you get perhaps, and maybe it's not like perfect, the more that you can like really do and really make a unique story that no one else will ever tell. So I really like the images, very clear images. One thing I'd say, I think it would be really cool to have an idea about how big a map you want. So yeah, you can have like a printed version of it, but you know, like the one I bought for this to try out, it's only like an A4 one. It's a tourist one for a certain part of the London, which I didn't read properly. And I think for that you need a much bigger one. You need like a proper you know, those old fashioned, like I don't know what they're called, like ordnance maps. That's not what I'm thinking of, but it's like, you know, pretty big A to Z that's all pulled out. And I think they're actually really hard to get. On the flip side though, I wonder if you could just, you know, if you couldn't get like a proper city map anymore, that you have to print it out, you have to do Google Maps printouts of thing. What about getting like the tube line or the metro line and using that, or train stops in a certain area, because that could be quite fun as well. Like, you know, it's all on a certain train line. Like you think of Girl on the Train or any of those mystery films. That's what I would be thinking of at this point. Anyway, sorry. Player's perspective. Oh, I wonder if we can show 2-page view. There you go. Oh, see, almost as if I planned this. So yes, this is what your play area would look like. So we've got the city map at the back. We have our character sheet here on the left, got our d10 dice tokens, and this is where again you'd put, clearly this person rolled, what's it, maybe a 2 on their d10 and then plus 2. They've only got 4 locations, so to speak, but they've put the sticky notes on it, and then there's an example of the sticky note there, crime scene title, so foreground, middle ground, and should be background. That's what it was, right? Yeah, background. So another mistake, but that's okay. And then you have your pile of cards and your discard piles, and that's kind of it. So yeah, you would need definitely a big space to have, as if you were doing it physically. I guess online, yeah, you could use like a mirror board perhaps. If you take a big enough screenshot of a place, like a city map or something like that, I'm sure you can get those out as well, and just use that. You can actually have an online digital version, which maybe other people could watch as you're sort of going through it, which could be quite cool as well. That's what I was going to say, is that I find one of the things that drew me to this was the idea of I've talked about it before, this idea of artifact solo RPGs, where by the end of it you have like a thing you've created, and those are becoming more and more popular compared to before when I was talking about that idea of bullet journaling or writing, lots of reflecting, and it being quite like a writing exercise. Here you're actually making like something, like a cool prop that you could bring over and over again and use it for something else, which I think is just really, really cool. Anyway, let's go back. Oh, look at that. Another cracking image as well. What a cracking image. Photos as well. Probably, again, from the library assets. Have a look-see. Oh, come on. Playing the game. The turns. Bloodline gameplay is followed into the following turns. Each turn you follow the line of commands described below. Choose a place you'll visit, draw a card from the deck, read its prompt instructions, resolve the eventual test set by the card, follow the resolution command, take notes on the case, and then place the card in the discard pile. Simple enough, so there's 7 steps to play a turn in the game. Before drawing a card from the deck, you must choose the place you're going to visit. You can visit it as many times as you want during the game, but you can't visit it more than 2 times in a row. Okay, cool. Taking the pictures. The post-it note will represent the photos you take whilst playing the game. Each photo consists of 3 photography planes: foreground, midground, and background. Whenever the game asks you to take a picture, it means that you should glue a new post-it note onto the location you have chosen to visit that turn and write foreground, site of what your character is looking at. Whenever the game asks you to describe the site, that means you must look out for the next plane in the photograph, whichever it is. If there are no photos at your current location and the game asks you to describe a site, glue a new post-it note and describe the site. There are 2 sites in this photography planes there. Okay, simple enough. Oh, I see. Right, common sites and uncommon sites. Ah, okay. So not only are you breaking it down by levels of ground, but you've also got sites as well. So common sites. When the game asks you to add and describe a common site, that means you saw nothing unusual in the site of the photo. It can be any common thing, like a dog drinking water or a flag dancing in the wind. When you write a common site, remember to write C in curly brackets at the end. That way you'll be able to remember this type of site in the future. So for example, we've got one there saying the old train station, a blind man with his dog waiting is in the foreground, and there's a little C in brackets next to it. Then we have uncommon sites. So when the game asks you to add and describe an uncommon site though, this means you saw something really intriguing. Eventually it can be connected to the big picture, resulting in a clue to get the killer. For example, it can be anything that hooks your eye, like a strange silhouette, or someone looking directly at the camera. When you write an uncommon site, remember to write U in curly brackets at the end. That way you'll remember this type of site in the future. And then we've got an example there. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit because my eyes are dying inside. In the midground, a clown lying on the floor. Uncommon. My question then is, do we start every picture is with a... I guess it's going to keep going down. So every time you revisit it, you go down to the next one, right? That's what it's going to probably say. Only after the current post-it note, aka the photograph, has at least 2 planes described, can you place another post-it note on the same location. Okay. So yeah, I guess you're doing different shots, right? Yeah, different photo shots. Cool. The killer. Whenever an outcome demands it, you must put a token on the killer track. Oh, so that's what those things were before. This usually happens when you lose against a challenge card. This track starts the game with 1 token already on it. Okay, that's good to know. The clues. In this game, you will manage the clue and killer tracks quite frequently. It is advised that you have some tokens near, so you don't need to write and erase all the time. Ah, so that makes more sense. Yeah. Every time you finish a description of a background plane of a photo, and you have at least 2 uncommon sites on it, take the post-it off the map and put it in a safe space. Place a token on the clue track, and the track starts with no tokens. Oh, interesting. God, that's difficult though. So you have to keep visiting certain places over and over again to try and get these photos. And then, depending on what you pull, you might not get all the uncommon sites. Oh, tricky. So we've got the cards. Take a sip of water now as I'm chatting away. Okie dokie. Okie dokie, what time are we on? Okay, not too bad. Not too bad at all. So, challenge cards. The cards from 2 to 10 represent investigative challenges that you must overcome. All of them have win and lose commands you must follow depending on the outcome of your test. Each card suit, check the table below, represents the nature of the challenge and tells you what attribute will be tested. The number of the card represents the difficulty of the test. Oh my god. To overcome the challenge, you must roll a d10, apply the attribute modifier, and get a final result equal to or higher the card's number. Ooh, I like that. If you roll a natural 10, it automatically succeeds whatever the attribution value is. That's really... Oh, I like that. Very cool. Meanwhile, location cards. The 4 aces represent new visitable places of the 4 different natures. Whenever you draw an ace, roll a d10, check in the location table on page 26, place a post-it note on a place of your choice on the map, and leave it blank until you visit it for the first time. Plot twist cards. Like all crime stories, nothing is what it seems at first sight. When you draw a face card, you must test against the respective value the suit demands of you. Each face card has a different value to defeat that in that test. If you overcome it, no plot twist happens, and the turn is ended. Ooh, okay. So then, as a sort of a quick summary of the different suits, so we have spades. Killer is nearby, and that will always test gut. We have diamonds. Unexpected event caught your attention. Test your trigger. And then we've got clubs. Locals have noticed something suspicious. Test presence. And then hearts. You find a familiar face. Test whichever attribute has the modifier of 0. Oh, I like that. So it's not going to be the same one every time. Ah, that's really cool. I really like that. Ooh, favors. Some challenge cards, when overcome, give you favors in the city. That means you have some influence or dirt on someone. When you gain favor, place a token in the favors track. Favors can be used to instantly win over plot twists, but you must use them before rolling the dice. It's a bet with destiny. If you use a favor, take the token off the sheet. Oh, I like that. That's a very cool mechanic. You gain something and you just spend it as a sort of not a betting mechanic, but yeah, you can just spend it to just avoid rolling. Yeah, there's always that chance. Cool. And then we have finishing the game. Some card outputs will ask you to mark the killer or write down new sightings on picture insights. Winning condition. You win the game when you manage to gather a number of tokens in the clue track. Whenever you win the game, it means you unmask the killer and solve the case. Use your imagination to connect what happened in the investigation so you can explain who the killer is. Losing condition. You lose the game when you manage to gather a number of tokens in the killer track. Losing the game means you get that the killer got you. Use your imagination to describe your final moments. You died without knowing who the killer was under their mask. Ooh, but I don't know. I would like that as a, you choose that though. That actually you do recognize it, but you die as a result. That's the lose condition. Time of actual play. Bloodlines gameplay takes roughly around 45 to 60 minutes. Gosh, that's very short for a solo RPG. And especially if you could come back over and over, I guess, because you're not, again, compared to when I do solo RPGs, obviously for Where, I'm putting things all over the place. So, how interesting! I really like that though. Pretty good. Buy the official deck at Drive-Thru RPG Cards. Well, can I? Oh, there's no link unfortunately in the. I thought there might be a link in the PDF, but clearly not. Oh, but my God, they are gorgeous cards. Look at that. Oh, those are gorgeous cards. Like that. Yeah, I like a good prompt, but again, you can always use normal cards. I've got a set of cards here, so we can have a go in a second. Oh, and then we can go straight on to the. Sorry, there's a little bit of noise outside. That was a little bit irritating, but it's fine. So the killer is nearby. So it feels a little bit like if anyone's played the Wretched solo game by Loot the Room. Similar sort of thing where you would pull something, prompts you to do something, and then there'll be like an action or a cause and stuff using the 4 suits. And also, of course, The Quiet Year by Avery Alder does this as well. So the killer is nearby. Oh, I see. Sorry. If you lose, test your guts. If you lose, then these things happen. Oh, hang on. I'm going to go to two-page shoot, because it's going to show us when it loads up. Ooh. Ah, there you go. So if you lose on the left, if you win on the right. So, can I reach a D10 from here? Give me a second. Realistically, I should just always have a polyhedral dice next to me at all times, right? I have everything else next to me except polyhedral dice. So let's see. D10, right? So let's try this out. So we've got the killer is nearby. There's a spades. We go down to the next one. Oh, it takes a little while to load. Diamonds, unexpected event caught your attention. Spades, locals have noticed something suspicious. And you find a familiar face, and there's the win and lose ones. So let's have a go at pulling out some of these cards. Sorry, I realise that's probably a terrible way to end the sentence there, so apologies. Alright, let's see what we've got. So I'm going to just do a quick shuffle. I'm going to pull a joker now, no me. So really, it's quite an easy setup. Just takes barely like 5 minutes to set up, so that's pretty cool. Alright, pull a card. It is a location card. It is the 9 of Hearts. 9 of Hearts. Let's skip over to that. It's going to be really... I realised I also didn't put any stats in anything, so I'll just say it's a 0. So you find a familiar face. So I've got to beat an equal to or a 9 on my D10. I did not, reader or listener. So that was a 2, so I fail. So this says for thing here. You couldn't get out of the apartment today because your landlord is in the corridor asking your neighbour about you. You're late on rent. Again. Describe a common sight. Interesting. Okay. A common sight like on any of the photos? Or on one that is at your apartment? Interesting. Let's do another one. I want to see... Oh, yeah, I'll do another one. So I'm going to shuffle again. See what we get. I've just seen a joker in there. So. Ooh, another 9 of diamonds. Good shuffling there, Fiona. 9 of diamonds. Alright, let's see. 9 of diamonds is this one. No, it's not. It is this one. This is unexpected event caught your attention. Again, I've got to get over 9 on the D10, and it's going to be just a +0 because I've not done any stats. Oh, that's unfortunate. That is an 8. I also failed there as well. A violent dispute between rival hooligan gangs is taking place in the front of your building and the alleyways beside it. It is not safe to leave the apartment today. God, I'm never going to leave this apartment at this rate. Describe a common sight in the picture. Because I have to pick a place. So I pick a place to visit and then I take a card. So none of it's really okay. Fine. But what if say I succeeded? So what if I win that one randomly? No. You notice a private cemetery on the back of a big house. The gardener is whistling a melodic song while cleaning a crypt labelled Paolo. What minor details convince you she's not there to take care of the garden? Describe an uncommon sight in the picture. Ah, very cool. So looking at these conditions, if you win, you've got quite a few. So place a token on the favour track, add a new location, place it on the clue track and take one off the killer track. Ooh, all those good things. And then on this other side, so I'm guessing more uncommon stuff is going to be on the right hand side, which is fair enough from these location cards. And then we've got, oh, nothing else happens. Place a token, yeah, so these are also more negative for us. Interesting. Those are the 4 suits with those cards, which is great. And then we have location cards. Here we go. Yes, so these are the 4 aces. So each time you draw an ace, check its suit, roll a d10, and check out what new place you could visit on the map. Draw a point on the map, place a post-it note on it, but don't write a site on it yet. Let's do it then. So I'll just I find the first ace card I found. Found it straight away. It is the Ace of Spades. Well, unlucky for some, that one. Ace of Spades. So I will roll d10. That is a 6. A gun shop managed by Old Pete. So then I have to find where that would be on the map, like where I would put that, and go from there. That's quite cool. What else have we got? We've got police, masonry managed hospital. Masonry managed hospital. What does that mean? Seen it. There's a couple of spelling errors, I will say, but that's okay. We've all been there. I also can't pronounce things, so that's all good. Oh, the beach in quotation marks there for that location. A maximum security prison. Oh, very cool. There's some nice different locations there. Presumably some of these are like elements as well in the cinema genre as well. So that's quite cool. Oh, another great image. I love that. Oh, and a thumbprint. I was talking to my my mother because she's reading I Am Pilgrim at the moment, and I was like, "Oh, that's the one, like the gold book with the thumbprint on it." And she went, "No, it's the one with the vortex on it." And I was like, "I don't think so. I think that's the one with the thumbprint on it." And then obviously I get a text half an hour later. She goes, "I think you're right." And she took a picture of the book, and yeah, it's a thumbprint, the I Am Pilgrim book. And I was like, "I know, I've seen it everywhere." Anyway. So, oh, I see now. So then we get these face cards, and then we have to, and then there's the challenge rating next to each of the face cards. So we've got Jack, and then I'm going to say we're going to have Queen. Actually, let me switch back to. Oh gosh, it's not doing well, is it? My Adobe on this. If I scroll, there's Jack. There's a Queen, King. Okay. Oh, pop culture references, and that's kind of it. Wow, brilliant. We got through that quite quickly. So, in order for us to win against this, it doesn't matter about the suit. It matters about the number next to them is the value we have to equal to or beat, I think. And then we roll from there. Oh, this is. Oh wait. So, hang on. I'm gonna look this up again. Sorry, I just read those consequences. And I was like, wait, does that just happen? That's really bad. Plot twist cards. You must test against the respective attribute of the suit demands. Ah, right. So of course, so if it was a Jack of Diamonds, it'd be 7 using trigger. That makes sense. So roll that d10. Each card has a different value. If you overcome it, no plot twist happens and the turn ends. Right, but if I don't overcome it, then I would roll again and get one of those consequences. Okay, great. Let's see. What happened? You wake up in a locked claustrophobic metal box. Fuck. A glove hand drops rice and raw chicken through the small holes of the track daily. You lose the notion of time and realize it's only been a month after you wake up in your bed one morning as if nothing ever happened. You lose 20% of your weight and standing up will be really difficult for the next week. For the next 3 turns, substitute all your modifiers for -1. Holy shit, that's incredible. Wow. It's your ex, you're being blackmailed again. I don't remember anything from last night. It's so cool. I like it because these plot elements are just like they're just little, but that's wild. We've got 9 to 10 one down there. Please confiscate one of your photos. The justification was that you didn't have permission to photograph this place. Destroy an incomplete picture of your choice from this place. Fuck, so bad. Especially if you need a complete picture with 2 uncommon sights on it as well. Alright, what do we have for Queen? When you get home, you see the front door already open, everything's upside down, and a photo was taken. Oh. Your cousin got your her cousin got your killer. The killer got your cousin. You find his severed eye in your mailbox. For the rest of the day, you're lost in thought, silent tears, and numbing anger. Place a token on the killer track. Wow. And then, if we pulled a king and we failed that roll, your apartment caught fire whilst you were sleeping peacefully. The fireman barely rescued you. The mayor distrusts you. He met you at a socialite ball where you were photographing and stared you down. You knew that this was somehow related to the killer. Swap the killer track tokens with the clue track tokens. Oh shit! That's bad. That's bad. That's really, really bad. That's cool though. Again, maybe we'll just use gender neutral pronouns just because, you know, mayors can be female or non-binary, and you know, your cousin also could be female non-binary, just a thought. And then we go on to the final bits, which is the appendix, so pop culture references. In this section you'll find some recommendations to dive deeper into the sub-genre. The game itself is a mashup of 2 different visual languages, Giallo and Neorealism. I've also added some video essays for the more curious about the marvelous cinema of Michelangelo and Antonioni. Oh, this is cool. There's actually, rather than just having a list, it just actually goes, hey, here what it is. It's a book. Here is a little bit about it. This is what I say to my academics all the time. It's like, you can put a link to the reference you've used or to like helpful resource, but maybe say what it is, because what if that link's broken? But if you describe what it is, maybe they can find it later. It's just a thought. A video essay? I think my only thing would be is that I'd like to be able to click if it's a link, so I can go see it. But I know links can get broken. I know. Oh. Yeah, I really want to see this movie now. Suspiria. An American ballet dancer moves to a prestigious German ballet school for girls. Something really wicked and supernatural is happening inside its walls, and Susie Bannion seems to be the only one capable of stopping it. Oh, look at that. There's a QR code as well. I wonder if I grab... Let me just check if it works. Oh, is that the playlist? Let's see, let's me check. Ooh, come on, phone. Open in Chrome. Oh, consent to you. Yes, I consent to YouTube. Don't worry, I won't play you. There you go. Look at that. That is a oh, let me go to the Big Fiona page. Look at that. That QR code goes to this this little YouTube video, which is music. Sorry, I paused because I was like, is it videos? No, it's all music. That's so cool. What a clever thing to do. I like that. And it's YouTube, so hopefully it'll be available in most of the countries as well. Fantastic. Oh, great job, Blurred Lines. Great job. You didn't think I was going to be saying that today. Then finally, Supernatural Giallo. Whilst death in itself, God, the white on red is absolutely killing me. I don't know about you guys. While death in itself is a terrible thing, sometimes you need to go further. The supernatural in Giallo films is rare, but there's no denying that there are moments where it's present. To have a supernatural experience in Blurred Lines, I put together two principles that I think are guiding, so as not to turn the experience into a slasher movie or something even more visually distant from Italian horror. Everyday subliminal ity. Is that how you pronounce it? Ooh. First of all, it's important that the supernatural elements are a part of the outcome of the investigation and not an intrinsic aspect of the reality that you, as an investigator, are immersed. In other words, instead of the setting being filled with real magic, it is crucial that the magic be completely unexpected and shocking for all the characters on the map you're investigating. So instead of a werewolf war raging through the alleys of Rome, actually a monstrous dog attacks passengers on the subway. In the earlier example, it may even be that the dog turns out to be a lycanthrope at the end of the investigation, but the premise of the mystery is that a possible fact turns out to be subliminally supernatural. One of the beauties of this game is that you, the player, can build your thesis on the mystery as the game unfolds. You might discover that the dog is actually protected by an influential family in the city, and then the plot would veer in a completely different side of lycanthropy. He may be a bastard son who is possessed by a demon who has served the family for generations after all. Again, could be any gender. Oops. Colours of the mind. Interestingly, Giallo films escape the tendency to overuse night scenes with colour. The lighting of the scenes mirrors the psychological state of the protagonist in the moment. Scenarios swallowed by red, yellow, purple light can bring another look to the same facts. At the same time, the film still balances scenes of extravagant lighting with extraordinary takes, precisely so that when they happen, they remain remarkable to the spectators. I quite like this little essay stuff going along. It's quite short to the point. Very good. In addition to the colours, the angles on which the scenes were filmed vary precisely to the place the spectator as the author. In addition to the colours, the angle at which the scenes were filmed vary precisely to the place the spectator as the author from an unexpected point of view. That is an incredibly long sentence. To bring these new aesthetic elements to the dynamics of Blurred Lines, I propose the use of what we will call colour and angle dye. It works like this. You lay out a second D10, preferably a different colour from the main one, on the map face up with the face 5 up. Every time you draw a plot twist card, you automatically increase 1 point on the face card face up die, regardless of the test result. In other words, the 5 scales to 6 and so on. On the turn, after you draw a plot twist card, and before you draw your next card, you will roll your main die against the face-up value on the colour and angle die. To succeed, you must be over its value. If you fail the test, it means that the next scene you'll have your photo reimagined at a certain angle and dipped in a certain coloured lighting. How cool is that? That's so cool. The scene will preferably point to supernatural aspects of the plot. After failing the roll, the colour and angle and die returns to the starting point, face 5 facing up, and the climb starts again. Ah, very cool. Find out the angle and colour of the scene, roll on the table on the side to combine the results. So we've got red all the way down to like green, blue, white, yellow, coal and blue. And then you get some emotions that are a part of it as well. Oh, that's so cool. And then we have the angles as well. Again, I'm really thinking of that Immortality Sam Barlow video game now as a result. Cracking game. Absolutely cracking. And then we've got the character sheet. Oh, two sides of it. Interesting. Piece of paper. And then, oh, we've got some... Ah, look who it is. It's Johan Noah, designer of Morkborg. Real dope magazine design. I like it. Oh, Weird Science magazine. That's where I heard about this one. Yes, Weird Science magazine. They're... a tabletop RPG magazine, which Where was featured in last issue at time of recording, obviously. But that's it. That's all the pages I've got for you. This is Blurred Lines. We'll race back up to the top and let's zoom out a bit. Oh, we got covered that in under an hour. That's a record for me. What do I think? Overall, straightforward game. I like the additional elements if I want to go supernatural. I wonder if I would include like I'd like that to try that. Again, I was talking before about lots of prompts and stuff. I'd like to try that light and angle stuff without that supernatural element. It says you can do it, but obviously it would point to something else being weird. But you could use that as an additional anyway. I think that's like a little optional rule, which I definitely think I would use. I think the map idea is cool. I can imagine playing it both physically and digitally. I think I would maybe recommend having a bigger map for it, and being able to have the space to do it so that you can really go in depth with it. But similarly, obviously, if you roll low and you only have 3 places you would visit at the start of the game, then I don't know. I think the only thing I'd say, was it obvious that once you filled in one bit, you'd go to the next bit and go to the next bit? I assume that would be the case. Let me just go back and check. I assume it would do that. If I went to... So when you start, see what you see at the first site in the first photo in front of F. And then I assume that once you've done that, when you go back, you do mid-ground, etc. Whenever the game asks you to take a picture, it means you should glue a new poster and choose it to visit on that turn and write the foreground of what you're looking at. Whenever the game asks you to describe a site, it means you must look out for the next plane of the photograph. Yeah, fair enough. If there was no photos that you currently... Yeah, so that makes sense. I think it's because I'm confusing planes with the 2 different types of site. But I still think that's really cool, really interesting. Yeah, overall, I think it's really cool. I do want to play it. Maybe I'll play it on a stream sometime, because I feel like, again, you can do it digitally. We can really talk through what we do for it. And it's quite short as well. If it can all be done in like 60 minutes, I know I probably would talk, so it'll go out to 90. Yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, there you go. That's Blurred Lines by Lanternthorn Games, published by Lanternthorn Games, written by Guilherme Gontijo. I have written that Guilherme Gontijo and Lanternthorn, published by Lanternthorn. Sorry. Yeah, really cool, really interesting. And again, it's a genre of film or genre in general that I don't really know much about. But it's something I find really cool. Any kind of cinema like that, I do think quite cool. So maybe, not maybe, I definitely going to check out certainly Vesperia after this, because I think that's a film I'm going to really enjoy. But that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to go back to Big Fiona Cam just now. If you like this, well, let me tell you. Why don't you check out? Well, first of all, just go. Oh, will this thing work? Who knows? That's my thing has. That's really good. My keyboard has stopped, so no doubt my computer's about to crash. That always happens on these Novas. So there's a link up in basically in the show notes for this. There'll be a link to where you can get Blurred Lines So go check that out. But if you're interested in coming on, what am I rolling? If you're interested in finding out more about the different RPG one-shots we do here, check out What Am I Rolling wherever you listen to podcasts. It's a twice monthly tabletop RPG one-shot podcast. We do lots of different RPG systems. We're just finishing up Going Rogue just now. We do lots of solo RPGs, and we usually just a way to sort of explore them and see for yourself, is it a game that you want to play and run for your own table, or one that you want to play for yourself, because obviously you are also a player at the table as well. I also do DM's Book Club, which is a weekly book club podcast where we talk about some Dungeons & Dragons and discuss how we might include them in our role-playing campaigns. We're coming to the end of Season 5 now. It's incredible. That's 3 years of work. I'm always putting out an episode. But Season 6 will be back in the new year, which is exciting, and we've got lots of really cool content for that. And it's just 2 different podcasts that talk about RPGs, and there'll be something for you, even if you're not a D&D person, even if you're not a non-D&D person. There's something for everyone there, so I recommend go and check it out. It has that worked? No, it has not. Sorry. Yeah, it has not worked. What was I going to say? If you go to our Linktree, What Am I Rolling Linktree, there is a Discord that you can go check out, so you can come join us on Discord. So if you're like, oh, Fiona, you talked really well, but you're a bit low energy, I hope you're okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. You can find us on the Discord and you can just chat to us there. I hope you're well. Otherwise, thank you for joining me for this very chill session. It's only 9 o'clock where I am now, so I might order myself a pizza. Maybe I'll do that. But thank you so much. I hope you're well, and I'll be back at some point in the future. I'm going to look at my schedule because I really do enjoy doing this, because it gets me to reading my RPGs. So, with all that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to wave awkwardly as I go to the ending screen, and I'll see you next time. Bye!